video is sponsored by Don't Look at the Demon, and you can catch it in cinemas October 7th all across the United States.
She gets into a trance, paints pictures of this man. She's never met him or seen him.
When I was a kid, I used to see them, talk to them. No one believed me except my sister Sarah.
What is that?
What?
That noise?
There's no evil. There is only ignorance.
When you don't take care of something, it dies.
Hey everyone, my name is Gwen, and today we're going to be talking about the concept of hell. And we're going to be comparing the Western depiction of hell and the Buddhist depiction of hell. 9 circles of hell versus the 18 layers of hell. Honestly, aside from the numbers, they have a lot of similarities, so I wonder if they are one in the same. Well, let's find out! But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up if you like what we're doing here, and comment down below if there's any topics you want us to cover next. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the depths of hell. First, let us look at a Western representation of hell. Today, we're going to be touching on the 9 circles, or Dante's Inferno. So, Dante's Inferno is actually the first part of a 3-part poem called the Divine Comedy. It was written in the 14th century and is still considered till this day one of the great works of literature. It depicts Dante's journey through the 9 circles of hell, guided by the poet Virgil. In the world described by Dante, hell is a big funnel with Jerusalem in the center, and it gradually shrinks from top to bottom like an ice cream cone. The deeper the soul is in the ice cream cone, the more sinful it is. The sinners of each circle are punished for eternity in fashion fitting for their crimes. The first circle is limbo. Dante's first circle of hell is resided by virtuous non-Christians and unbaptized pagans, who are doomed to spend an eternity being punished in this inferior form of heaven, or so they say. It's also known as a place of and in between life and death, and also Minos, the judge of the underworld, resides here. We've seen limbo in many forms of media, TV shows, movies. I think one that I can think of at the top of my head is from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, when Harry fought Voldemort and then he wakes up in the train station and meets Dumbledore. That was somewhat of a depiction of limbo for Harry. The second circle is lust. In the second circle of hell, Dante and Virgil find people who are overcome by lust. And what's their punishment for this? They get violently blown back and forth by strong winds, unable to ever find rest. Can people from Chicago relate? You know, the Windy City? So these strong winds actually represent the restlessness of a person who is led by their desire for fleshly pleasures. The third circle is gluttony. So this circle is where those who overindulge exist. When reaching the third circle of hell, Dante and Virgil find souls of gluttons who are overlooked by a 3-headed worm monster, Cerberus. Sinners in this circle lie in a vile slush produced by the never-ending icy rain. Now, this vile, slushy situation is actually representation of the degradation of one who overindulges in food, drinks, or other worldly pleasures. Greed is the 4th circle. In the 4th circle of hell, Dante encounters more ordinary people, but also the guardian of the circle, Pluto, the mythological king of the underworld. This circle is reserved for people who hoarded and squandered money in their lifetime. So their punishment is being forced to push a heavy weight with their chests, and this symbolizes their selfish, greedy need for fortune when they were alive. The 5th circle of hell is anger. So this is where wrathful and sullen souls are punished for their sins. These are souls that are consumed by anger or have so much resentment in them that they become grumpy and ill-tempered. Honestly, this is probably where I would reside in hell. Maybe I can still turn it around, yeah! Please! So, when Dante and Virgil went down to the 5th circle, they saw wrathful souls fighting each other on the surface of the river Styx, while the sullen souls sulk beneath the surface of the toxic black water, gurgling and choking on it. Moving down to the depths of hell, the sixth circle is heresy. The sixth circle of hell is basically what you imagine hell to be. There are towers full of flames, an entire cemetery of coffins spewing fire. And so here is where the heretics live. So heretics who don't believe in God, or who don't worship a god, or don't believe in God's teachings, they get tormented here by the fiery sarcophagi. Honestly, sounds like a place that I would also reside. Level 5 and 6. Gwen's here. The seventh circle is violence. And this is the first of the circles to be further segmented into sub-circles. The outer ring, the middle ring, and the inner ring. And they house different types of violent criminals. The outer ring houses murderers and others who are violent to people and property. Centaurs guard this outer ring and shoot its inhabitants with arrows. In the middle ring, the poet sees those who have committed suicide turned into trees and bushes, which are fed upon by harpies. In the inner ring, the blasphemers and sodomites reside in a desert of burning sand and burning rain falling from the sky. The eighth circle is fraud, and this circle is made up of those who consciously and willingly committed fraud in their lifetime. Within this circle is another called Malabolja, and it houses 10 separate boljas. In these boljas exist types of those who commit fraud. Each bolja is guarded by different demons, and the inhabitants suffer different punishments. For example, simoniacs lay head first into a stone bowl and suffer fire all through their body. The ninth and final circle is treachery. We finally made it to the end of the ice cream cone, where the chocolate bits are. But it's funny I should say ice cream cone, because this entire circle is frozen. And it's also where Satan lives, which is kind of bizarre because I would always think Satan is in fire, but instead he is in ice. So, the ninth circle of hell is actually divided into 4 areas. The first is Cana or Caina. Those who have betrayed their families are imprisoned here, and they're frozen in ice up to around their shoulders, so they do still have some mobility in their neck to move around and protect them from the harsh winds. The second, Antenora, are for those who have betrayed their motherland. In this area, the ice goes all the way up to the base of the skull, leaving them unable to bend their necks. The third is Ptolemaea. So Ptolemaea is for those who have betrayed their guests or mistreated someone who is seeking shelter in their homes. The fourth area is Judeka. So this is for those who have betrayed their gods or their masters or their leaders. In this area, they are fully encased in ice and distorted into inconceivable positions. Now that we've covered the 9 circles of hell, let's times that by 2 and move on to the 18 layers of hell. In Buddhist concept of hell, you are punished for the shitty things you've done, so much to the point that your soul becomes weighted down with bad karma and you sink into one of 18 levels of hell, where you're punished until your karma is served off. So when you die, King Yama, who is the lord of hell, sends his 2 subordinates, Oxhead and Horseface, who are guardians of the underworld, to escort you for judgment. The judgment of King Yama depends on the good and evil of a person's action in life. For those who committed crimes in life, King Yama will send them to hell to accept various punishments. The first floor is the chamber of tongue ripping. So for anyone who's ever stirred up trouble via gossiping or bad-mouthing, here's where your tongues are ripped out. The second floor is the chamber of scissors. So for anyone who's ever been a homewrecker or broken someone else's marriage off, well, your fingers will be cut off here. The third floor is the chamber of iron trees. Those who have caused discord among family members of other people will find their bodies being pierced through hooks and hung upside down on iron trees. The fourth floor is the chamber of mirrors. So those who escape their earthly punishments will find their true shape being displayed in these mirrors. And over here, their karmic debt has to be paid for in high interest. The fifth floor is the chamber of steamers. So instigators and hypocrites will find themselves being steamed in a steamer. The sixth floor is the forest of copper column, where arsonists find themselves stuck to a scorching hot copper column for eternity. Not a very comfortable pillow. The seventh floor is the mountain of knives, and those who have committed murder using knives will find themselves climbing this mountain. The eighth floor is the hill of ice. Cold-blooded schemers and ungrateful suckers, including those who ill-treat their partners and elders, will find themselves naked in this freezing cold environment. The ninth floor is the cauldron of boiling oil. So sex offenders such as rapists, assaulters, or pedophiles will find themselves being fried in boiling oil. Let's move on down to lower hell. So the 10th floor is the chamber of Ak. Those who have abused animals will find themselves being bullied by animals. The 11th floor is the chamber of rock. Those who have abandoned or killed newborns will find themselves being crushed under the weight of a rock and soaked in filthy water. The 12th floor is the chamber of pounding. Those who willfully waste food will find themselves being pounded like crops. Yikes. Because I kind of do that sometimes. I don't always finish my food, so let's hope that I avoid the 12th floor. The 13th floor is the pool of blood. Those who do not respect others will find themselves soaked in blood. The 14th floor is the town of quitters. Those who commit suicide will find themselves wandering in this town of misery where the wind of sorrow and rain of grief are blasting day and night. The 15th floor is the chamber of dismemberment. Those who disturb the deceased by digging tombs will find their bodies being torn into pieces. The 16th floor is the mountain of flame. Those who steal, bribe, and rob will find themselves surrounded by an everlasting inferno. The 17th floor is the yard of stone mill. Those who abuse their power and oppress people will find themselves being ground into powder. The 18th floor, the chamber of saw. Those who exploit the loopholes in the law to cheat and engage in malpractice in business will find themselves being sawed into half. Hell, though terrifying, is as solid and as elusive as the human world. Just because, you don't believe in it doesn't mean it's not there. So I guess this idea of not knowing whether or not it exists is what really gets people in line. And now for some similarities. First off, there's always someone making judgment. So in the 9 circles, you have Minnows, and in the 18 layers, you have King Yama. The nature of their job is essentially the same: to judge a person on the good and bad that they've done throughout their lives, and to allocate a fitting punishment for their crimes and their sins. The second similarity is that they both have guardians of the underworld. So in the 9 circles, you have the centaurs, and in the 18 layers, you have ox head and horse face. They all work in hell, watching over the punished, and the biggest similarity between the two hells is that after death, people must be punished in hell for any wrongdoings that they did in life. Both hells have different levels of punishment, varying forms of torture, and designate appropriate punishment fit for a person's wrongdoing. So let me know what you think. After hearing those 2 depictions of hell, do you actually think they're like the same place? For me, I feel like the bad place will always be the bad place regardless of where you are and what you believe in. So don't do bad or you'll be in the bad. Got it? Got it. And with that, we've reached the final level of our video for today, which is the end. So let me know down below if you like the content that we did here on the video today. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.